Welcome here, welcome in. If you're here now with me, with us, welcome. And if you're watching this at a later moment, welcome in. Um, Today is the third day of October in 2025. And I've been doing these free online gatherings for, I think it's over 6 months now. And it's been very beautiful to observe the feedback from all of you. Thank you so much for showing up when you can. And I think mostly people are watching this later on their own time. And I want to say, if you haven't been watching it on like maybe double speed would be too fast, but like 1.5 speed, you can do that because I send the links out as to my YouTube channel, which is Buffalo Queen. So if you ever feel like you're like, oh, I missed it, go to my YouTube channel, and all of the recordings from the women's gathering as well as the men's gatherings are located there, and you can find them there and watch them. And you can watch them at 1.5 speed or double speed if you want. You can listen to them while you're running, walking, driving, doing housework, whatever it is that you do. Um, where you would want a little bit of information on things maybe that you're curious about. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So thank you for being here. I invite you to first start, like we always do, taking a few deep breaths wherever you are at. If it's safe for you to close your eyes, go ahead and do so. But there's so much wisdom in taking deep breaths, being more still and breathing with intention. And as you breathe in on your inhale, imagine with the intent to be bringing in, breathing into all of your cells, all of the energy of abundance and love and joy and support and health, well-being. All of this is ours. It's always in around us if we know how to access it with intention. We can absolutely invite those energies to become one with us in our cells, in our DNA, to invite more vibrance and more health and whatever it is that you desire. We're going to talk about that today, the intent behind what we do and the use of life force energy. How are we using that energy? Um, but even still, I want to go a little bit deeper into our breath as we with intention breathe in all of the beautiful energies. When we exhale, we actually bring intention to releasing what is stagnant, old, static, excess, burdensome within our bodies, within our emotional body, within our mental body, and then our physical body. If our emotions are stuck and we're not releasing old stuck energies, it lives in our, not just our emotional body, mental, but it becomes more dense and becomes manifest in our physical bodies as dis-ease. So when with intention, we're bringing in new energies to support our well-being, and we're releasing with intention what is old and keeping us stuck and unhealthy and diseased, then that's good. That's our goal. So bring intention to your breathing. Breathe here right now with those intentions to bring in what is abundant and what is going to support your well-being, and releasing what no longer serves you with intention is so beautiful. So practice that with me here as we take a few deep breaths with intention, like I just spoke to. And you can continue this way to breathe with intention as we sit and learn together. I want to speak to the fact that across, like, this is universal wisdom across so many traditions, ancient wisdom traditions of Kabbalism, Taoism, Tantra, indigenous teachings. Um, People would even call these teachings maybe pagan because they're so old, before religions. But there is a recognition of the interplay between masculine, or actually, I'm going to call them, before I go and define them as such, they're receptive energies and active energies. And some call them masculine and feminine. Some call them yin and yang, or yin and yang. In Kabbalism, it's left and right, integrated. So taking these energies that we live in, the duality of black and white, light and dark, right and wrong, like all of these things that seem polar opposites, really are one. And so when we can learn to balance these energies, the receptive and the active, the feminine and masculine that live in each one of us, we're living, like in the Tao, it says, like, find the middle way. It's coming into the middle as conscious awareness of these two opposing, seemingly opposing energies, and how one makes the other true. And when we can integrate them here, we are more whole. So let me speak a little bit to across these traditions. The left side is feminine. It's receptive, intuitive, inward, flowing, right? And our left side is connected to our right brain, which is more, and it's where our emotions are. That's more the creative side, the feminine side, right? And our right side would be considered masculine. It's active, outward, structured, protective. And that controls our left brain, which is more analytical and pragmatic and linear thinking, right? So as I speak to these opposing energies, it's interesting to understand that it's not about gender or dogma. It's about universal energies that live in each one of us. And when these energies are balanced, we are living and creating from wholeness. So, um, I'm not speaking to any sort of religion as one right way. I rather would say it's a way to deepen your faith. And when I say deepening, I mean maybe moving from the idea that there are rules that we must keep into more like the spirit behind how you do anything. How are you showing up? What is the energy that you're showing up in, the frequency of you, and how you do anything? If we're doing it unconsciously, the energy behind it, can you see how, if we're making food, this is a good example for maybe a lot of women here. And as I think back on my life, when I was living more unconsciously, where I just wasn't aware of how I was creating anything or the signal I was sending out that was creating my reality. But if we're making food for our family or ourselves, and we're creating a recipe, we're creating something to share with others. If we are doing it out of resentment, or we're doing it because we're just like, ugh, I hate cooking, but I have to do this because I have to feed these people or whatever. Can you see how the energy with which I'm creating that meal is very different than someone who shows up and really enjoys creating food in order to sustain the people they love. And so the energy behind the creation of that meal is very different than one created out of resentment and like, oh, I have to do this. I just want to get it over with, versus I love to create sustenance and meals for that will sustain people in their health and their well-being. And as I do this, I do it with the energy of abundance and giving, and there's no resentment in that. Can you feel the difference between these two ways to create a meal for people and even yourself, that you're going to put in to your body with the intention of gratitude for the people who prepared this meal, right? Can you see how it perpetuates when there is gratitude given in the giving of this thing, and then in the receiving equal gratitude, that it grows something very different than if it had been done and intended, or done without intention, just done willy-nilly, not thinking about what is being done, what is being given or received. Does this make sense? So, um, So I want to speak to the fact that the intention of how we do anything is how we are constantly creating our reality. So if I spoke to this 2 weeks ago when we met, if you don't like anything that's showing up in your experiences in your life, guess what? That's good news, because if you don't like it, you can reorganize it and bring it back into harmony with with abundance and love, which is our true nature, not lack and fear. So when we are doing something just out of obedience, so it's not about right and wrong, obeying or disobeying, it's more about noticing the energy that we're creating from. So whether we're praying or resting or out doing something, what matters is, and I think I remember talking about this when I would talk about things and teach people, that there's the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. If we are living the letter of the law, we are doing something. I can only speak to my lived experience. I lived much of my life by letter of the law, believing that if I did this perfectly obediently, that therefore I deserved blessing somehow, but I was far from feeling the spirit of what I actually was doing. And that, I'm going to say, yes, that included my prayers, my church attendance, my temple attendance. How I was doing everything was, if I'm really honest, based in the fear of not doing it well enough or the most obedient way, because I felt I needed to earn my worthiness by my obedience rather than a different way, which now I feel like there's a different connection that I have. It's a different texture, because I don't feel like I'm living my life feeling I must be living the letter of the law, instead of saying, well, how does that feel in my soul, in my heart, in my being? What resonates with how I'm connected to all that is, to God, to source, whatever you want to call it, in all of my doing? So now everything is spiritual, because the source and spirit, God, is in everything. It's in everything. So no matter what I'm doing, when I bring the intention of connection to all that is, now I'm creating my life, how I live it, in a very different way. So um, I want to scoot back here, and before I step into this other thing. So if the masculine and feminine, these two polar, like seemingly opposite ways to be, are always seeking balance within us, then what happens when we allow the energy of these two beautiful essences of ourselves to and it's very intimate energy when we start to have a relationship with our feminine side and our masculine side in a conscious, aware way. So this is what I want to speak to, is the life force energy that lives in our wombs as women, our bellies, our sacred bowls. As we unite these two energies and we invite them to start to integrate, this is what happens. So I want to talk about sacred sexuality today, because as I've sat with clients, especially women, I have come to understand that the denser energies of our like our wounding, our trauma, lives in our physical bodies somatically down in our yonis, in our sacred bowls. And it's those lower chakras that, so our root chakra, our sacral chakra, and our solar plexus are the three lower chakras where our trauma lives. And energetically, when we have energy stuck there, we will have different issues or addictions or things that we are stuck repeating, patterns, because we haven't taken our life force energy, our balanced energy of masculine and feminine, in a conscious way and moved it up, up, up. This is what Kundalini energy and exercises and practices are speaking to, and Tantra as well. It's using your life force energy to move that lower dense energy that's been stuck and wounded, moving it up, up, up to your upper chakras now that are places that where we get to transmute the lower dense energies into energies with intention to create a new way to be, or to be in relationship with the aspect of ourselves that's higher and more whole at a frequency of our wholeness. And that's how we access that our wholeness, our highest self, is when we're taking these lower dense energies and transmuting them from the wound that we gathered when we were younger and transmute it into abundance and love and peace and simplicity and bliss and joy. I don't know if you've ever studied some of the other ancient wisdom traditions or even the very origins of some of the religions that exist today. So, Kabbalism is the origin of Judaism. It's the spiritual origin of Judaism. And Sufism is one of the mystical beginnings of Muslims. And paganism, or it's a more earth-based religion, is the origin of Christianity. They were people who lived on the land and they were connected to the land. So indigenous people lived this way. They had one the great mystery is the one God, right? But then they were so connected to the earth and Gaia, Mother Earth, and the feminine aspect of deity as being here, us living on it. So they had a very different relationship, spirituality with both the masculine and the feminine. So, and you've heard the saying, as above, so below. So if deity has that relationship with masculine and feminine being balanced, then we too get to take these two energies that live in us, which, by the way, my lived experience, I don't know what yours has been. My lived experience has been to feel and see modeled a wounded masculine and feminine way to be. And that's what I think we're doing now. Is there's a shift now in the new generations. They're more willing to talk about what hasn't worked, what they saw their parents or grandparents doing, and they're talking about their trauma. They're more willing to say, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live silent, repressing my emotions. I want to show up in a new way, a more awake and more conscious way to take these masculine and feminine wounded energies and bring healing and wholeness to them so we can all help each other live in our true nature, which is joy and trust and freedom. So when I talk about this, I'm curious. Anyone who's here now, if you want to put in the chat, I'm curious what your experience with any of what I've been speaking to has shown up for you. I'm speaking to this because I have learned now that as I'm willing to take these life force energies and move them up, up, up with intention, that I can literally become like an alchemist, an alchemista, a female alchemist, if you will, and take those dense energies that live here. The wounding, the trauma, all of whether you've had sexual trauma or emotional, mental, any sort of trauma, it lives in our bodies and wants to be invited up to become transmuted and shifted into the higher energies. So now I just was studying some Kabbalism, In the Kabbalah, the left and right of the tree of life, the left is feminine, the right is masculine, right? It's so we have the receptive and the active here, and the middle that runs up the tree of life is the integration of these two energies. And what I learned this last week that's so beautiful is that Shekhinah or Shekhinah is the presence of the divine feminine in Kabbalism. And it is said that Shekhinah or Shekhinah, however you want to pronounce that, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong one way or the other, only dwells where joy lives. And joy is what lives in our upper chakras, and it's playful, it's creative, it's trusting, and it's liberated. That is the conscious, divine feminine arriving up, and helping us create from those energies. Can you feel the difference between trying to create a life, being stuck in these lower dense energies, believing that that's as good as it gets? And maybe some of you have asked in your lifetime, is this as good as it gets? Am I truly living my best life? When we are repeating patterns from the past and stuck in these dense lower energies, maybe we aren't even aware of the energy we're bringing to anything that we create, whether it's meals, whether it's our prayers. How are we connected to deity? Is it out of fear? Or is it out of feeling connected and honoring and gratitude and joy for the life that we have, that we are co-creating because we are living in with purpose, with the intention to tap into the higher energies of our wholeness, which is joy. I love that. The divine feminine only dwells where joy lives. How do you feel about that statement? I lived for so many years, never really having a relationship with the divine feminine. And I didn't realize, you don't know what you don't know. I didn't realize how much there was an ache in me for that until I started to lean into that and trust that I was being guided and I had a desire to have a relationship with that. And that has changed everything for me because I only ever knew how to be a very masculine woman. I was very driven to like perform in a certain way and to live in a certain way. And I didn't realize that that kept me far from the feminine aspect of me. Okay, Camilla, do you have a question? Please come forward. I see you raised your hand here.
No, I'm very curious because we have talked about this plenty of times. So, but I am curious because recently I've had experiences of where I feel like even in my dream state, not even dream state, I'm very awake, but also somehow asleep,
Mm,
where like I feel my lower body is like elevated from the bed, and it's happened like the dog is like it happened many times, and suddenly like when I wake up I'm so warm in my whole body, and the only thing that I can see is that my upper chakras is trying to connect with my lower. And
mm,
also recently, like it's been the time where I have been most conflicted in both my masculine and feminine. So I'm just curious, like your perspective on that.
mm. Wow, first of all, thank you for sharing and being willing to share that. Um, it's interesting so that I'm speaking to this now, and these are things that you've noticed in yourself, that these lower chakras, yes, for sure, we feel them. It's where those lower energies that are dense, where we feel shame, self-doubt, regret, fear, these lower energies that we know when we feel them, we don't want to feel them, but they literally are living in the lower chakras of our bodies, asking. So every time we feel them, it's an invitation. And I know you know this because you've been doing this work. When you feel it come in, it's an invitation to turn towards it. And I see you doing that. I know that you do that, Camilla. Um, and it's interesting that in your dream state, you're feeling these two, I don't want to say opposing forces, because there's always the invitation as you turn towards the very thing you fear the most, or you've been judging it like as something bad or it's unfeelable. I can't feel that. It's too heavy or whatever. Then we it's in our act of turning towards it with compassion that it starts to let go and it starts to go up. So you having this experience in your dream state is very interesting because it's like, I think you already know the answer, that this wanting to rise up and connect with this is the invitation to let it flow. It's Kundalini energy. So this is what I'm going to speak to deeper right now. This life force energy, which has been called so many things, Kundalini, chi, prana, life force energy, right? Or even like a type of deity, right? That is wise and it's informed, but it's Shakti energy, it's feminine energy, and it starts at our base of our spine, right? In those dense energies that are matter. They're so dense, they actually have solidified in our physical bodies as trauma. Feelings unfelt is trauma. Feelings unfelt means we weren't willing to turn towards it and allow it to move through so it could be gone and not get stuck as dense energy. So as we turn towards it, it starts to rise up that chakra, that Shakti energy through our root chakra, which is I am. That's the I am energy of I am a participator in life. I am here to take up space. If you have doubt or or you have an old subconscious limiting belief that I don't matter or I'm not enough, guess what? Those dense energies are living in your sacred bowl as a female and informing the rest of your chakra energy because it hasn't been felt yet to be healed and refined as actually I do matter. I'm here to participate in this life and I'm here to take up space. Me being here is part of being in the united field. And in fact, if I don't believe that I'm worthy of being here, I'm leaving a hole in the united field in some ways because I'm not showing up as a participator in the united field, that we're not separate from each other. We're all in this together. So when you can start to have the confidence to be a participator in life, to feel all of it, to not just cling to the good in feelings, but say, as a participator, I'm here to experience everything that I was meant to as a human being, which is all the dense energies that I've said, no, that's bad. No, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's experience. And it's the emotions that we came here to gather wisdom from experiencing the very thing we fear the most. To be able to experience what we're not brings us into relationship with what we are. How can you know and understand what you are if you've never experienced its opposite? That's what we're doing here in this three-dimensional experience as humans, is experiencing what we're not in order to gather the wisdom of what it's like to not be our true nature and be like, oh, that's what that's like. So the I am is the root chakra. The sacral chakra is I feel. So in order to take in these dense energies and transmute them, you first have to believe you're here to be, that you are allowed to be here, to take up space, to be a participator. Then that energy can rise up. And now you get to work on, I feel. And as I feel, I heal. And as I feel and heal, I flow. And from that space, I create. Now, what are you creating with that life force energy? Yes, you can create babies with that life force energy, but a lot of people don't think about this. That energy, yes, it creates babies. You're muted, by the way. But if you are with intention, wanting to create and bring into creation something that you want to manifest, your greatest desires, what your heart desires, if you can use that life force energy to heal and feel and flow and create, guess what you can create and manifest into your life if you believe you can. So now you're here as a participator, you're feeling and flowing and creating. That energy moves up to your third chakra, which is your solar plexus. And that is the energy of I have, I do, I will. It's your life force energy of, it's like your energy center of like the Energizer Bunny. Like I can go and do it. It's a more masculine energy because now it's putting all that you know into action, and you know that you already have it. You're not separate from abundance because you believe that you already are abundance. You're not separate from it. Now you're starting to heal these lower chakras and understand that, oh, since I already have, I'm just tapping into the energy of what I already have. And now I'm manifesting into my reality with these energies that are now moved up and more whole and healed. Now they're moving up into your heart center and they're being refined and transmuted so they can go up and you can now speak your truth. You're now more whole. These two things, now you're working that Shakti energy, that feminine energy from the root is more refined, it's more healed, it's more whole, and it's going up and it's been healed up to the crown chakra, which is Shiva, which is masculine energy, the divine masculine. And when those two, so it starts with your heart, right? Your heart is the middle of these seven chakras, the three below and the three above. The heart starts to heal that and creates a bridge so you can now start speaking with the voice of love, of truth, your truth, with love, not controlling anyone, not manipulating, but just love. And as you do that, you start to see through this third eye the lens of truth, which is love. You start to see everyone and everything as whole in their wholeness, because that's the truth. We're all already whole. And so when we start to see everyone in their wholeness, we understand why they behave certain ways. If someone's acting out of fear, behaving as angry in an angry manner, we can say, oh, I can see that they're in pain still. That's okay. They forgot. They're on their path to wholeness and remembering that their true nature is not fear. And then when we bring those energies up to our crown, that chakra there is, I know. You go from experimenting with all these other energies and you end up with the knowledge, the wisdom, the gnosis of lived experience. And that's what we're here to do, is to live the experience of our emotions, because our emotions is where we gather the wisdom from our lived experience. Does that make sense? How many people do you know that have incredible stories of resilience and courage and going through hard things, and they end up being more radiant, more beautiful, more compassionate, more in touch with all that is? There's a sense of presence in them because they have been they've taken these dense energies, and instead of staying weighed down by it and becoming a victim of life, they said, no, 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 I am not a victim. I am a creator. And from all of that fertilizer or shit that I've been through, I have refined my soul because of that fertilizer. And it has helped me, actually given me the boost to rise up like yeast and rise up to these finer energies of joy and bliss and abundance. And that's how I want to create now from that place. I don't know if that answered any of your experience, but I know you have experience with this. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, Camilla?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense because this is also the experience that I've had lately to observe myself in situations where I do make myself smaller in a way. And it's like in my dream state, I'm being told to
Hmm.
do it differently.
Hmm.
Makes sense
Can I
because
ask
dream
you?
this insane pressure on my
Hmm.
head. Like it was, and I got so scared. It was so scary because I was awake, but also in a dream state, and the energies that challenge these feminine sides of me that is making myself smaller was present. So I
Hmm.
understood, like in a logic mind, that this is what's happening. So it made a lot of sense. But it was very interesting because like my feet, for sure, it was up in the air, and it happened many times. And also to have that pressure on the head, it was like it made sense. That's what was
Hmm.
happening.
Okay, very beautiful. And it's interesting. So I'm curious if I were to ask you, in what areas would you say that you play small?
In relationships, for sure. Like
Okay.
I feel like sometimes I almost sacrifice my needs for my wants for the other
Because,
person to live theirs. So
okay, that's interesting. Can you think of an even like if you were to think of, yes, there's that dynamic for sure. And we all are doing this in relationship on some level, whether we're aware of it or not. The desire to have peace in a relationship, and peace at all costs keeps us from maybe speaking our needs or desires, because if they're spoken from a place of fear, what we're fearing is that they may not stay in this relationship if
exactly.
they disagree with my need, or they don't feel like they can meet it. Then they're like, peace out, right? And so to keep the peace and to keep the relationship held together, somehow it's our responsibility to manipulate the outcome by being pleasing, easy,
Mm.
small.
It's for sure about abandonment. Like I know it's the fear of abandonment that makes me play like this.
Okay.
So, and
So
I lately, hmm?
what if you spoke your truth, your need, your desire to have it met, right? And they said, yeah, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, or they left. How would that feel for you?
To be honest, the word that's coming, it's freeing.
Is what?
It would feel freeing, to be honest.
Okay, so so this is what's so interesting about fear, right?
Mm.
It's fear is an illusion, but it exists, and it exists for a reason, because it's always the invitation to turn towards and get more clear on the why. Why would you want to be in relationship with an entity, a person that does not want to meet your desire or need? So, like, really, if our need to be needed means that we will settle for the breadcrumb in a relationship of just like a falsehood, like we're living in a falsehood because the intention behind it is the fear of them leaving. So I'm going to manipulate the situation with pleasing them. And is that even a relationship at
No,
that point?
no, and I know this is what's interesting to me, what I'm observing, like even knowing all that I know, to still entertain it in a way.
Absolutely. And this is what's so important, Camilla, that I want to say. Thank you for showing up here and being so honest, because we are all in the process of figuring out what it feels like to be in relationship through the fear, how I'm showing up. Does it work? Does it work? My need to be needed, how is that working for me? Or am I turning in and tuning in and realizing, if I haven't given the safety, the love, the attention to myself first, then I will remain connected to people that aren't able to show up for me in the way that they're going to show up in the same way that I show up for me. And if I can't show up for me, how can I expect them to show up for me? Do you see how
Mm,
that's mirrored? So there's something in you that is saying, turn in, tune in, and stay right here and give
mm,
to yourself the very thing that you're asking your partner to give to you.
mm,
Because at a certain point, when you fill that own cup, you are not going to be asking someone else to do it. And guess what? Awareness of what you're talking about and intention to give here creates magnetism.
mm,
Those two things together, the awareness that, oh, my need to be needed keeps me drawing in things that are not able to meet me where I want to be met, because I still am living from lack, thinking that I need them to give me something that I haven't given myself yet. So the question is, do you want, I mean, this is the thing, we're all doing it. Relationships are the perfect containers. There's never the wrong person. Everyone is always the right person, showing us where we're still not free. So if we're willing with awareness to turn towards that part of ourselves and say, I see your need to be needed. And you keep trying to fill that void, that need, by something outside of you. When we finally show up for ourselves with the awareness and the intention to tend to ourselves, then we become a magnet for other relationships that are people that are more aware, and their intention, it has brought them back to themselves. And now you have two more whole people standing in front of each other, being more clear mirrors for each other of love, of awareness, intention, of more wholeness. Does that make sense? Because they aren't living from fear anymore that this person is going to leave. They're showing up in their authenticity, knowing that if this person leaves, I'm fine, because I only ever want to be in relationship with someone that has met themselves and is showing up in an equal way out here with me because they've given it to themselves first. Does that make sense? So this is the dynamic in relationships that we're all working through, right? So if you've had relationships that you've been in where you have felt unseen, unmet, misunderstood, what would it look like if you were willing to turn in and become more aware of how you have been in relationship with yourself where you are not seeing or understanding or connecting with yourself in a deeper way? If there is a shallow relationship here, how is it that we believe that we are going to have deep, connected, emotional, and physical intimacy with someone when we haven't given it here first? So, we lost Camilla. She's in Norway, so I don't know what happened with her connection. But this I have spoken to a lot, and then I'm going to wrap this up with a few questions here. I don't want to keep these very long. But when we have been doing the work of refining these lower energies and bringing them up to these upper chakras, where now the signal that we're sending out, remember, frequency precedes form, and we are always sending out a signal by our thoughts and our words and our inner dialogue. So the energy, the signal, the frequency we're sending out is always bringing back exactly the same frequency. If we are living in joy, guess what we're calling in? If we're living in abundance and love of self and an inability to fake a relationship in order to just be in a relationship instead of saying, wait, I'm whole. I don't need a relationship to make me feel seen or validated, because I do that here for myself. And as I do that, my energy goes out, my energy of connection with all that is, connection with self, a deeper trust, an abiding love of the aspect of me that is never far from me. It's my soul is right here all the time with me. That message goes out and it creates a loop of joy, of bliss. Joy perpetuates joy. Love perpetuates love. And it keeps refining our relationships. And now we're not needing to be needed because we already met our need. We know we're not separate from all that is. And love and abundance lives here. Safety is here. Now, what are we drawing in to be in relationship with intention? Now we are creating a reality that just keeps getting better and better. We're not around saying, is this as good as it gets? We're like, show me how it keeps getting better. And that keeps growing, because we are limitless beings. So one last thing I want to say about creation from the energy of our sensuality, our sexuality, when you are in partnership or even solo and using that sexual energy to with intention bring up those lower energies, because our emotional wounds, they live in our bodies, and the current of Kundalini, of that lower energy moving up through all of our energetic centers, our chakras, is the current of liberation. That's what they call it in Tantra practices and ancient wisdom teachings and traditions. Those lower dense energies, when they are refined and with intention brought up, it's the current of liberation that liberates our trauma and transmutes it into alignment with our true nature, which is love and abundance. So when you are in relationship with your partner, use these energies with intention to heal and breathe that energy up to your heart, breathe it up to your third eye, and send it out as a signal to heal everything in the world for the highest good first, and then bring that energy to heal your cells, your DNA, your body. If you have particular things that are out of alignment and need more ease instead of dis-ease in your physical body, bring those energies up with intention and let them do their work. Let them refine the dense energies and bring them back to your wholeness. Here's 3 reflection questions that I want to ask you, and just feel into this, even if you want to close your eyes as you're listening to this. and feel into these questions. The first question is, what energy do I create from? What is the energy behind my actions? Is it fear and obligation? Like I must do this or else what? I'm not a good mom or I'm not worthy in my community. Or is it joy and connection, knowing that I'm never disconnected from all that is, and anything that I'm doing is spiritual? Making a meal, saying a prayer, whether you're praying on your hands and knees out of just complete desperation. The most honest prayers ever uttered, I think, can come from desperation. And the most beautiful prayers can come from the joy of gratitude, just offered up as you're there witnessing nature or listening to something beautiful or watching something or reading something that just touches your soul and it resonates, just offering up just this gratitude for thank you for allowing me to feel this, to experience this, all of it, and not deeming any of our emotions as good, bad, right, or wrong. They're all acceptable because it's all part of our wisdom experience. The second question is, how do I notice the feminine receptive energy in me and the masculine active energies in me? They both exist. And where could they come into greater balance in a more conscious way? The third question is, what shifts inside of me when I honor the spirit behind what I do instead of only the form of what I'm doing? So if I could make my life and all that I do a sacred offering, is my life offered up as the intent to be in relationship with all that is and creating this beauty, this joy, and perpetuating it out to give permission others to do the same. You've all been around people that feel like they're living in joy. They're living their best life. What is it like to be around those people versus people that are hiding or contracted or have self-doubt or are angry or sad all the time instead of believing in their ability to choose what they're creating, the signal that they're sending out? Okay. So if you have any questions about any of this, I went into a lot here today, but some of the things I was studying this last week were so beautiful about the divine feminine and the intention that how we heal. How it's not like, oh, I have to do this work. It's like I get to tend to the parts of me that have been longing to felt seen, understood, and held by me, not by anyone else. I get to do that for me. What a gift that ends up being. It doesn't end up being work. It ends up being the reason why we're here, is to tune in, and connect with all that is and live our best lives. So, I can't see who's coming in right now. It's Camilla again. Okay, I'm just wrapping this up. Camilla, somehow you got kicked out. I don't know if your Wi-Fi or what, but I was just kind of wrapping this up to say goodbye. But if there's any final thoughts that you want to share about this, you're on mute right now, so you're going to need to unmute. And just in a
No,
quick
I'm just sad that I couldn't hear the rest of that. Then I guess we have to talk on the phone after,
Yeah,
because
we'll have to thing, but I just was saying that whenever we're willing to and this is also the intent behind what I'm saying here. I said it, but I'm going to reiterate, maybe for you for sure, and anyone else, if I can say it in a more clear, concise way, that when fear and all these dense energies come up, they're always inviting us to turn towards them with compassion and be the one that, like, if our sacred needs are to be seen, heard, and understood and held, where did we come to believe? I understand it because it's all we've been conditioned to understand as humans, that to be seen, heard, and understood is going to come from a relationship or a possession or a degree or something outside of us, even a deity. But what that aspect of us that's never far from us, it's right here with us, it's our soul, it's waiting for us to turn in and tune in and be the one who sees, hears, and understands us and gives that compassion and love to ourselves first. So now we've shown up for ourselves in the deepest ways. We understand and hold and have compassion for ourselves in the deepest ways. And now we are magnetic for all the things that want to come in and do the same because we've already done it for ourselves first. So if when we have done that and we're in it's not something we have to do. This isn't work. This is what we get to do. I think it's why we came here. It's to be in relationship with our soul, with that aspect of ourselves that's never, never not here. When we tap into that, now we're creating a life from the energy of our truest nature, which is joy, abundance, compassion, love. These higher frequencies that are connected to our wholeness. Now we're creating and magnetizing back to us all of the energy of living our best life because we were willing to tend to ourselves in a way that maybe we never saw anyone doing. So it's kind of new territory for all of us. But I love this space because it gives us a chance to be open and honest and transparent with each other and say, yeah, this is hard. Yeah, it can be hard. It's not easy, but it's the experience that we're gaining and the wisdom that we're gathering from being willing to do it. I don't know if that answered anything. You're muted, so I don't know if you had something to say about that or.
I understand it. I think I will just take time to embody it in a way.
Yeah.
And,
How
but
share with us, how is a way that you take time to do that? What does that look like for you, Camilla?
I recently did a 4-day fast, water fasting.
Okay.
So that's a way for me to listen to my inner world better
Mhm.
and also I deleted all my social media apps and just I wanted stillness to be
Mm,
able to have space to sit with my emotions and with my thoughts in stillness instead of trying to distract myself from them.
mm,
So that's a very efficient way for me to reach this space within myself. I feel like, because I feel like especially our femininity is often, I don't want to say distorted in some ways from like all of the conflicting energies that are from scrolling or addictions or watching something unconsciously. And it's a way, I noticed that's a way for me to escape, to sit with this.
yeah.
So it's like every time I need this, because now, like, you understand, it's something in my relationship that has like it catapulted me in a way into wanting to sit with all of this in stillness and just really feel both the pain and the wisdom of it, like, because I know in the pain there is also so much wisdom. And for some reason I really enjoy to be in this darkness with myself, if I can call it that. It's like it feels like a void that I'm in, where I receive so much information of who I am and who I'm becoming. So to sit in that space and just sit in it naked and raw without all the distractions is really helpful for me. So it couldn't be more aligned, actually, that you did this talk exactly today, because today was when I finished my fast. So it's just perfectly aligned, of course. So it's like
And how
always.
it goes sometimes, right? Oh,
And
Camilla.
we're going into the Aries full moon now on
Yes, we
Monday.
are. I know you and I are
So
both Aries moon and Aries
yeah,
like rising too. I'm not moon. We're Aries sun and
fun.
rising, both of us, aren't we?
No, I'm Virgo rising,
Oh,
but
you're
I'm
Virgo
Aries
rising, but we
sun.
have Capricorn moon too together. That's right.
Yeah, Capricorn moon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But
it's everything is aligned, and I've seen like when we connect all the aspects of the energies that are surrounding us astrologically as well, it all makes sense in a way. So the fear of it all is not that present anymore, even though the pain is, the
mhm.
fear is less.
Okay. I think
So
I'm so glad you shared that. I love what you said about the void and the darkness because we just passed fall equinox where everything's
mm,
at the halfway point and now we're heading into
there's
dark,
not a-
right? We're heading into Samhain, which is the end of October, which it's the celebration of darkness to come, right?
mm,
We're actually leaning into, in some of my mystery school teachings, they call that energy Dark Mother. And she is the one who cannot be named because she is the void. She is that which where everything springs from, right? Out of nothing comes everything. These are the two polar
mm,
opposites. And that nothing energy is receptive, it's feminine, it's yin,
mm,
it's hidden, it's dark, it's incubating, it's creative life force energy ready. It's fallow. Fallow doesn't mean it's dead, it means it's rich with life, ready
mm,
to birth something new at the end of
mm,
darkness. When now, out of that nothingness, that active energy, the young masculine energy, out of true yin energy, darkness, comes true action or masculine energy. True meaning
mm,
conscious. You sitting in the darkness, aware that there is something there for you to gain, a gem,
mm,
the wisdom, information, clarity, whatever you want to call it. Trust the darkness. It will
mm,
always inform you, and you choosing stillness is the perfect recipe. You cannot you cannot gain clarity when there's noise, when there's so much
mm,
movement. That's young energy. That's summer. It's like go, go, go. It's just like adolescence and going and like living. That's great when you've set the foundation of the yin. But if you're living in wounded masculine, never having come back home to your center to gain your root into the feminine, so there from that place all things can be created from that place of trust in the darkness, that there is information that is always there guiding you. From that place, true action can emerge. It has to. It's the nature, it's the laws of the universe, of nature of God, that from nothingness, everything is created. So I love
yeah,
that.
it's very interesting because I was in Italy recently, and like before coming there, I was so deeply rooted in all my practices, and I had so much clarity on who I'm becoming, and I didn't recognize that I was in a really masculine energy. I
Mm,
thought it was a feminine one, but it was actually a masculine, because when I arrived in Italy, it was like everything got completely silent. And I was like, did I learn not like who am I? Like I was so confused, and I couldn't like reach any space within myself because it was so much noise around me. It was so many people, so much, it was something all the time, and it was always about something else but myself. And I became very quiet. I didn't speak much. I was more like, I was just observing everything happening around me. And then I actually got a little bit scared, like, am I doing everything wrong? And then I was reminded, like, it's not possible to do anything wrong.
Can't get anything
But
wrong.
yeah, and it was
Go wrong,
so
yeah.
interesting to be in that energy with myself where I'm like, so this is when I imitate something within myself that is not real. And I find that reflection in people around me. So I, in a way, imitate people around me also. And when I came home, like I was so extremely tired. I was just sleeping all the time, and I couldn't listen to anything. I couldn't watch anything. I just needed to be like completely still, like physically still. And
Yeah.
also, like everything around me needed to be still.
Yeah.
And from that space, like I remember one night I was just called to walk out, and I walk outside my door and it's northern lights all over the sky, and I'm like, ah, okay, I get it, I get it, I get it.
Oh, I
And
miss
then
those northern lights.
yeah, it
Give
was
me some pictures or
insane.
videos of them.
I was sitting for hours just watching the dance, and I was reminded like how the light is always present also in the darkness. It makes me emotional, but it's always there. And from that space I was also able to speak with my soul and just understand like, what do I need now, what do I want. And everything became clear. It was so clear, like I was gonna do the water fast, I was gonna just breathe and accept that place of rest for myself, because like I rarely do. And it's been the most beautiful time in a very long time, because I have been able to just accept that I needed rest and I needed stillness and I needed quiet. And I feel more in touch with myself now, even though like there are things that are happening externally. I also know like it's external. It has nothing to do with my internal world. It's just something that moves around me, and everything in life moves all the time. Nothing is still. So the only thing that can be still is what we choose to keep our focus on. And it's been so many lessons and so much wisdom in this season of my life. And I feel like I completely surrendered to something really deep inside myself. And I do believe it's my feminine that has called me here. And it's a time where I am to accept those parts of me also, because I recognize like many times when I go through this more challenging periods of my life, I tend to seek advice in everyone else but myself. But this time I shut the door for advice around me, and I trusted to listen to myself. And I'm really proud that I did, and I'm really glad that I did, because it's been a deep learning for me that that's also okay. And sometimes it's helpful to speak with others and listen to the perspective of others, because it opens doors inside ourselves also when it's aligned. But sometimes I think it's really important that we trust our own void and stay in that and just appreciate that and be grateful that the darkness also exists. So it's been Yeah, it's been a really beautiful time, even though it's been still, and it hasn't felt like I've been moving at all. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like I know that I've moved a lot because it's been showing up in my dreams, and
Yeah.
it's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone who's listening, like this idea, you can see how the the dynamics of what is happening in Camilla's life is has given her an invitation, which she's finally accepted. And I know you've accepted it on other layers at different times, but our healing is cyclical. It's not linear. We are a different person and we come around to a similar pattern as a different entity with a different understanding if we're willing to show up for ourselves in a new way. And so for you saying, you know what? Like I'm actually sitting with myself and sitting in the darkness, and there's nothing to fear there because I'm willing to finally sit. There's something, it's not, you're like, I'm not seeking advice anymore from people because I realize that outer authority, believing there is someone or anyone or anything that knows better than me for me is not true. You are claiming your sovereignty to trust your intuition, your highest self that's never separated from you, to guide you to know what and sometimes it's a power move to say, I don't know. I'm sitting
Mm.
in the darkness and I don't know. That is a power statement. It's not weakness
And it's
because
also joyous. It's joyous.
it's
It's
joyous.
exciting.
It's like saying, I don't
Beautiful.
know, because from that place, anything's possible.
Mm.
It's when we are so certain. You said I had all my practices that I was doing before I went to Italy, and I was doing them all the right way. And and then you're like, but now I don't know. I was so certain, and where
Mm.
did that get me? It's in the not knowing that magic arrives, and it's arriving for you precisely because you have been willing to step into the feminine aspect of yourself and balance her with the not knowing, trusting that in the not knowing, in the void, in the black darkness, guess what arrives? From true
You
yin
know,
power,
what
true action will come.
comes in this is that it's like a spiritual expectation when you, like I did, you follow like the perfect recipe
Mhm.
of like how to become blah 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 blah. Then you come to the point where you are in the situation that you have been practicing for. So it's
Mhm.
almost like you're practicing a play
Mhm.
of expectations. And when I arrived there, it was like I just understood like I was never meant to follow this recipe. I was never meant to expect myself to show up in a certain way, to practice the questions that I was going to ask, or the way I was going to speak, the way I was going to behave, the energy that I was going to carry. Everything just,
Yeah.
it was gone. And I felt like, have is dementia hitting me at the age of 34? What is going on? And it actually made me a little bit scared.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure. I
who,
can feel
what's
that.
happening? Like, why? Because it was at times like I wanted to speak. I knew what I was going to speak because I had practiced it so many times. I had created
Yeah.
the narrative
Yep.
before,
Yep.
but then like my words, people even said it, like sometimes when you speak, it's like you try to say something, but your words blurs. And I'm like, yeah, and that's exactly how it feels because it's like I can't say what I want to say. And I understood like it's because my higher self, source, whatever it
Yeah.
is helping me not to create that narrative that is not meant for me.
Wow.
So it's the not knowing. It's always about the not knowing because to know means that we are not living in the now. we are not living presently.
Yes,
So
thank you. That right there.
and
Yeah,
it's
if you're
like
certain of
brought
an
back
outcome.
moment, like,
Mhm.
oh, this is the now, and in the now is nothing to practice. It's like nothing. It just is.
Mhm.
So it's been
Thank you.
very
Thank
not.
you for being willing to share your honest experience, your truth, because I'm sure if anyone's made it this far, I congratulate you that you stayed and listened, because this is where the good stuff lives. It's in the not knowing that we are living in that balanced energy of being in the flow of now. In every now, all we ever have is now. There is no past, there's no future, because those are states of our mind, of our thoughts. If we can understand that right now is our power to choose how we're showing up, and if we're showing up in certainty that things are going to be a certain way, we are not living in alignment with all that is. Because all that is always guiding us. If we will clear our certainty, fear is where certainty lives. Certainty is
Mm,
where fear lives, right? I'm certain it's going to be this way, and I need it to be this way for me to be comfortable and be safe.
mm,
It's stepping into the unknown and saying, I trust all that is.
mm,
Guide me, because I am not separate from all that is. I'm
mm,
one with it. So if I'm trusting that, that means I'm trusting me to know how to guide me in connection to source.
mm,
It's it's really, I think, why we're here is to trust that we can't get it wrong.
mm,
What you just did, you went to Italy and all these weird things happened. There was no mistake in that. Everything happened just as it should, or it would have happened a different way. I see you and I feel your energy in acceptance of that. Yep,
mm,
that happened. And now I'm going back to creation, darkness, the void, to sit with what is the reality of what happened and come back into alignment with it
mm,
being okay, just as it is, living in a
mm,
neutral space, not trying to make it good, bad, right, or wrong, but it
mm,
just is, and I am still okay.
mm. Yeah, I was sitting at our place, the sacred place down by the
Yeah.
ocean,
Mhm.
watching the northern lights, and I said it loudly, like, I just trust. Like, I
Mhm.
feel the surrender now. I feel the
Mhm.
letting go of the control of the like I was speaking to God, the universe, the northern lights. I was just like, here I am, and I know that I'm here for a reason. I don't know what reason, and I don't need to know exactly the reason, but I know that I'm here, and I know that I've been manifested into this world, and I surrender it to all of what is, because I know that I can't get it wrong. It's
Mhm.
impossible for me to get it wrong. Like it's impossible for you to get it wrong. Like it's impossible for anyone to get it wrong. So,
Yeah, there are no mistakes. Everything is always guiding us back home
like
to
a mistake is just a
ourselves.
misword. It's an experience, and the experience is teaching us or guiding us to another space where we want to be, and there really are no right and wrong. And I know that like people could say like, oh, that's idealistic to say, but yeah, okay, then I'll be idealistic, because if I was to always go back to the past and say like, oh, I did that wrong, or I made this mistake, or I said the wrong word, or blah 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 blah, then I would be damned every time. I would damn myself every time,
Stay
because
stagnant. Yeah,
it doesn't
believing there's only one way to do it right. Right? There are as many paths as there are
it's
people.
like
Yeah.
I
And you
don't
get your path
understand
wrong. Yeah.
that concept anymore. From that night on, it's been even like what I say, like I still feel that ache and that pain. It hasn't truly left, but I know that the pain has so much purpose if I choose to look at it from the perspective of my heart. Then the pain is here to be my teacher,
Mm,
and I would never be without that teacher, even if that teacher is another person, or if it's an experience, or if it's myself that is
mm,
that teacher of pain. I will not give it away for any price, because I know that we live in this world and it's duality. We have pain and we have joy.
yeah,
So when I know that pain is present, I know also joy is present.
right. Yeah,
Because
thank you
one
for saying
thing
that.
is without the other. So I'm
Both
like,
ends.
it's coexisting. And
Uh,
I believe that we are so many feminines now that are waking up to this power within ourselves. I did this Reiki healing with another woman yesterday, and it was so beautiful because she's also been living most of her life in her wounded masculine. And I've seen like the Reiki healing as something that I do, not like exactly like that, but it's something in my logic mind is like always blah 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 in my ear. But I understood yesterday, like, no, this is because I surrender. It's
mm,
not about who I am on earth or anything. It's because I have opened a channel to be able to transmute this to another person. And before this, I would listen to my thoughts and be like, okay, what does this person need? And la, la, la. I would have this inner dialogue with my logic mind. But yesterday, it was completely still, completely quiet. And the first time in my life, I understood that this is nothing that lives in the mind. It's
mm,
only goes through my energy.
mhm,
And it's
mhm,
the most beautiful experience I've had to be able to sit in that without all the chatter of the mind. So that's like the proof that my mind needed to also calibrate to this surrender in a way, and to calibrate into like understanding that I can rest. I can actually just sit and watch also. I don't need to be going on all the time about something. I can just sit back and also trust. And I think that's what's happening when we merge our masculine with the feminine, is that we trust each other.
mhm. Thank you
Bridge.
for saying that. There's safety. Yeah. There's
Mm,
safety when we integrate these two energies within ourselves, they unite and one makes the other true. They both
mm,
exist in this place where it just feels really delicious to
mm,
um to be in that space. And you know that you're safe now in that space because you created the space for it and the safety
mm.
for it to integrate, right? And not be wounded, not live in a wounded way anymore. Um,
So
so
to go back to that about healing, because that's also very important what you mentioned, is to understand that, because me and you, we have been on this journey for how many years? And
from
how many times haven't we had this exact conversation from another perspective?
a definite, yeah, we are circling back around. We are not the same.
Never new.
We're never
It's
the same. Yeah.
it's a layer. It's just a layer, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And I don't think it ever stops, because what fun would that be if it's one day you wake up and like, oh, I'm fully
Yeah.
healed. So what now? Like,
That's
it
the
wouldn't
thing.
be
It's
enough.
well, we're limitless beings, right? So it's limitless, our love, our wisdom, our growth, our, and where our attention goes, our energy flows. So if we're focusing on fear and certainty and the way things should be, that is a sort of damnation. It's a
Mm,
stagnation, right? Thinking
yeah.
that things must be a certain way. It's your release of what you thought things should be that suddenly you start to flow and expand your awareness that, wait, this is okay just as it is. I don't need to try to control it and be certain
Mm.
of the outcome. There's so much beauty in that. Thank
It
you so
creates the illusion of having no movement in a way for me. And
much.
I've had the question come up to me many times lately from people that are not so deep in it like we are, but they are curious, like, but when are you done? Like, when do you reach your destination? And I'm like, this is no destination. Healing is the forever journey, not only in this dimension, but in all dimensions. And it's
That's the
always continuing, it will never stop. And that's why we're here. And that's why we are eternal, is because it never stops. Because
well, and
if
that's
it
why,
would stop, we wouldn't
yeah.
be eternal. So
Yeah,
it's
when you
like,
hear that saying, like, it's not the destination, it's the journey, part of you is like, oh, that sucks. But the truth is, this life is our journey. And our lives, if it's true that we have more than one life, wouldn't that be, wouldn't that create so much more ease knowing that you don't have the pressure of trying to get it all figured out in one
mm,
lifetime? I don't know if that's true or not. But for me, when I lean into that energy, I'm like, why not? Wouldn't that be lovely to know?
mm,
Because we are limitless souls and beings that we're ever, time is relative. So we're all just now,
mm,
every now moment, in every dimension of now, that we are
mm,
on a journey. And they call it the hero's journey. It's like going out, going into your fear and learning that fear is safe. It's going
mm,
to the heavy emotions and realizing, oh, I can trust myself to be safe to feel all
mm,
my feelings. It's always expanding our awareness because we're never the same. We will have the same pattern come up, but we look at it and we're like, oh, I remember when I used to be scared of that.
mm,
And then we can say, you know what? I tended to me and I gathered that wisdom. Nobody else did that. No outer authority told me how to do that. I sat in the darkness and I embraced myself in that darkness. And from that space, everything good was created because I
mm,
trusted to stay and tend to me with compassion.
mm,
Maybe I never knew how to do that before, but that's
mm,
what we're learning through these cycles of life, of seasons in nature, and all the things. We are
mm,
not in nature, we are nature. And so
mm,
we're doing it too. The leaves are all, I just went driving yesterday to look at the leaves and the fall colors in the mountains here in Utah, and it's just breathtaking. But it's not lost on
mm,
me that everything's shifting and changing, everything's starting to die, but it goes
mm,
out in a blaze of glory. No,
mm,
it's going to return again,
mm. Yeah,
and
this
live
was exactly
again.
what my dream showed me also. Like in the dream, I was waking up to fall asleep again,
Uh,
waking up, falling into deeper reality again,
mm,
waking up, falling into deeper, like it was layer upon layer upon layer. And I understood the message of that is that we are multidimensional beings and we do have several realities going on at the same time. And like, I'm not sure if I'm ever going back to earth, and I don't need to be sure of that. It's now I'm here, but I also know that I feel my energy existing somewhere else, because who is my higher self? Where does my higher self live? I don't have the answer, and I don't think I will have the answer, and I'm not meant to have the answer to that when I'm on earth. But I know that fragments of me are somewhere else. And it's also like giving me the picture of understanding the vastness of a soul,
mm,
of every soul.
every
So
soul.
I think that that's what makes us so interconnected also. Like when we do have those soul connections, like when you and me met, for example, I'm for sure, like, I know that we live together in a different
It's
constellation
something
somewhere. Like it's,
that's what's interesting. When there's a familiarity with a certain energy of someone, yeah, it gets my attention because I've
Mm,
lived long enough now to understand when I was living more robotically, not really like kind of you said, sleeping and awaking, sleeping and awaking. I think we're always going through cycles of that and all the different layers of our lives, right? Some things we're more aware of and things, other things we think we are, and then we're kind of hit like, oh, I thought we don't know what we don't know. I thought I was living consciously, and now looking back, I'm
mm,
like, oh, I was constantly living in a state of shut down. Like I wasn't aware of how what the signal was that I was sending out that was creating my reality loop of, now I'm like, oh wow, I get to bring awareness to that and with intention choose me over and
mm,
over. It just keeps getting better and better. Like I don't know how
mm,
many lifetimes, I don't know how that takes. Maybe it is just once. I have no idea. I'm not going to begin to think
mm,
that it's certain of an answer because it's in the not knowing that answers come. It's
mm,
not knowing that in my intuition guides me.
mm.
Not, and it can't arrive. It almost feels like this, Camilla. And then I kind of need to wrap up. We're like at an hour and a half. I'm starting it at a new time. Debbie, I see you logged on and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for showing up. But I'm starting to do it at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock this time. So I know some people come around thinking that I started at noon. I'm so sorry. But it's almost
Oh,
like
Debbie.
when I empty myself, there's an expansive spaciousness for meeting me in my surrender and my willingness to be empty, to become empty.
Mm,
That's what magnetism, that is what true feminine energy does. It sits in darkness until it's so empty that what it invites in through the willingness, the surrender to receive what you have no idea what is coming, but you trust that it's coming. That is feminine essence at its
mm,
purest form, trusting that what is coming in is so abundant and so beautiful. Of course, I will remain empty to receive what is mine,
mm,
what I'm drawing in. That is your power as a woman, creator from the energy of all that is connected to that.
mm.
And
And
that,
to embrace the forgetfulness also, because as humans we do forget,
yes,
and
and it's giving
in
grace
in
for
that
our
nature is to
forgetting. Yes, it's our
remember, like
nature.
it's bringing remembrance.
Yes,
It's
it's our, we're here to forget and
mm,
live in what we're not so we can remember our true nature and step into
mm,
that. And I don't know how many lifetimes that takes. Maybe it's one, but certainly the fact that some people are familiar, I'm like, wait, I don't know how this works, but the fact that you're so familiar to me, I'm like, I can't help
mm,
but wonder, have we spent other lifetimes together, like
mm.
in friendship, in enemyship? I have no idea in
I
situation.
think we recognize energy, like I how I have observed those connections for me. It's like I can recognize the eyes of someone, but I know that it's no one I've ever met before. But
Hmm.
it feels familiar, and if it is like this, that we are living in different dimensions together in Venus or I don't know,
No.
in the Pleiades or what
Yeah.
the yeah, whatever it is, then I think that we all like we can feel that frequency of the soul that we meet, and we connected to recognizing the person because we recognize something about
Yeah.
them,
It's
and
energy.
it's something
Everything's energy,
familiar.
right? It is. It's energy. It's a recognition of energy. And this is what I was going to say because I kind of got segued there. When I was living less aware, I wasn't tuned in to energy. I had no
Mm,
instruments or capacity to be still, to feel, to trust, to empty. I had no resources. I had no tools. I didn't know what that looked like. Now, as I am a little more aware of energy, that's when I meet someone and I'm like, oh, there's a familiar energy. And I had no capacity for that before, but I didn't know. I didn't know,
Mm,
right? I didn't know that was a thing. So now I'm more fine-tuned to the frequency of
mm,
things that are familiar, people, energies. And what I draw in, what I'm drawing in are relationships and connections based on a higher frequency. I
mm,
like the companionship and the relationships that I'm drawing in are less and less dense, if that makes sense.
mm. And sometimes we also draw in the lower frequencies, and
Yeah,
that's also okay.
and we get to sit with that and
Yeah.
understand that and or to try to just sit with that and be with that. Like, what is there to learn from this? There's
Yeah,
all
what in me
everything's a
is living in that
curriculum.
lower frequency now? What version of me is showing up within myself that is
Yeah.
like pulling me to this lower frequency?
Mhm.
And why is this showing? Like it's I feel like it's about the curiosity and acceptance of all of what is, instead of being like, oh, how did I draw this in? And
Yeah.
be the victim of the lower
Yeah.
energy. That's it's just to be curious and also have compassion for all the things that show up, because it's no point in judging any of it, because everything that comes will come to teach us something for sure. It's about everything in life. It's a universal law. So it's
Our experiences are always giving us wisdom.
yeah.
If we will understand that, that's a game changer when we realize that everything in our lived experience is always informing us, showing us where we're still not free, where we're
Mm,
shut down, contracted, full of certainty instead of clear and empty and ready to receive what wants to flow in to inform us how
mm,
to expand a little bit more, right?
mm,
A little more open, a little more spacious around things instead of
mm,
contracted in fear and certainty. And I have all the right answers. I already know there's nothing else to learn. It's the greatest, like, so I think it was Einstein. He's like, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
Are you kidding me? And it really is true. If we are a limitless being,
Mm,
then we're never stop learning. We never stop growing and
mm,
expanding. So to decide that we already have all the answers, it's a form of stagnation because it keeps
mm.
us from being willing to receive more truth, more light, more truth.
It's
So,
the spiritual ego, and it can show up in all of us at some points. And I believe that it comes to teach us something too, is to
oh, for
be
sure.
willing to just meet that and be like, oh, okay, so I did fall into that illusion, and that's okay because now I see the illusion.
Right. It's so beautiful. I mean, it really is a game changer when we realize that life is our ally, just
Mm,
guiding us to new and different, improved curriculums for our growth.
mm,
Like, then really, we're not scared anymore. We're like, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? And it's not spiritually bypassing it and being like, oh, I've got to make meaning out of this right now for me to survive. It's saying,
mm,
no, let me just sit with this. Let me empty
mm,
out and sit with what is and let myself be connected to all that is so I have greater guidance, greater access to guidance because I'm really open to it.
mm.
I don't know. It's all very,
Oh,
I'm
beautiful.
so grateful for you showing up here and sharing your truth, being vulnerable and honest about what's moving through you right now and the beauty of it and the sorrow in it. I mean, our grief is really just the other side of love. We would
Mm,
never experience grief if we had never experienced love first.
mm.
So
That's beautiful.
there's so much beauty, if time is relative, love is the greatest power in all that is, right? In all of creation. Love is the greatest, most powerful power force, and it
Mm,
allows fear to exist because it's so powerful. It allows everything to exist. It even
mm,
allows our doubt of love and our resistance to it and everything. It's not conditional. It's unconditionally so unconditionally loving and accepting that it will even allow us to deny it and it's
mm,
or to live not in love but out of
Mm.
like live in fear for most of our lives until we finally
Mm.
remember that our truest nature is that we are love,
Mm.
not separate from it. So,
Yeah, the
so
eternal
thank you for
frequency.
that reminder. Debbie, I don't know if you have anything to say or if you would rather that I stop recording and then talk
Good.
to you.
Here I am in all of my glory. Sorry, Camilla, I
Oh.
can see you, but I'm sorry. This is what I look like out of bed.
Hey,
Um,
well, I
No,
wish
so
I could look
beautiful.
so bright-eyed
oh,
and your eyes.
yeah. Are you kidding? So nice.
Your eyes are so beautiful.
I can't wait to go back and listen to this because it sounds like the best conversation ever. And just in the few minutes I've been here, I'm like, yes, and yes, and yes. So I'm going to go write these things down because you've said so many beautiful things, both of you. And Camilla, I'm so happy to get to see you in person. I'm
Yes.
Oh.
not really good on Instagram. I'm never really on there that much, but when I am and I see your things, I'm always really touched by what you say. No
Thank you.
wonder you guys are soul sisters because you're both total. So beautiful.
And so are you. And, thank you
Yeah.
for your message. I
Oh,
really, really, really appreciate.
oh,
And
thank
when I
you.
heard Debbie, I'm like, oh, Debbie. So
Yeah.
I feel like I
Yeah.
know you.
Oh, well, thank you. I am honored to be related to Noelle because she's so special. So
Yeah.
Debbie.
you said is great. And I'm sorry, I did not know it was earlier. So thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I just moved it up a little earlier for people, and that might have been not a wise thing because everyone was kind of used to that time, and now I see people sometimes they'll show up at the hour when I'm closing, and they're just thinking it's starting, and I'm like, oh, so I need to like send out an email that says, please be aware that I
Yeah,
Mm.
changed the time of this.
that
So
would be cool. But I mean, you obviously do whatever you want, but I clearly didn't read carefully when you
I know.
said,
Well, people are like, well, I know what time it is, and then they show up and then they're like, dang. So
No.
anyway, but I appreciate you showing up, and
Mm.
we did talk about beautiful things, just like the feminine and masculine energies in us, and how that we've lived very wounded, what we saw modeled and everything, and
yes,
how bringing these into like unification inside of
yeah,
us
yeah.
is actually the work, but it's not work. It's something we get to do. We get to show
Mm.
up
When you
for ourselves
explain
and
to us,
align these energies.
yeah, and also about how we do live in without it. Like we have times of clarity. Camille, when you said I'm like dreaming and then awake, I'm not. Because we all have those beautiful aha moments, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so good, and I feel so connected." And yes, that's how we do. And then it's like you let life get in the way, and then you come back to that, like, "Oh yeah, here I am again." And so,
Over and over.
but
But
literally and figuratively, it is.
yes, but you heard what she said, and
Mhm.
we're never the same. Our healing is not a linear path, it's cycles. It's cycles
Mm.
of learning and growth, and we come
Yep,
back to the same thing.
I
But
know.
guess what? We're never the same.
Well, we're never in the same river twice, so they talk about that.
Yes,
Even
that's
if
the
Mm.
it's
thing.
the same river or something.
And Debbie,
I wrote
the
here.
thing is, it's the power of belief too. It's aligning these things. So we come back, if we haven't integrated, which I mean, celebrated our win and noticed, wait, I'm not the same. How could I be the same? I'm changing. My quantum physics says that every one hundredth of a second or something, it's a 1 millionth of a second or whatever, all of our cells are like going out, all the energy is going out and restarting over and over, like in
Gosh.
like millions of a second. So it's like unfathomable in time and
Yes.
linear time, but we are never the same. We're always expanding and like and bringing in new energies all the time. If we believe that, oh, it's this pattern again, but guess what? I am more evolved. I
So I,
am choosing, it's our belief that we are not the same too. If we're like, oh,
Mm.
I'm stuck, I don't know how to do this, I keep cycling through the same patterns, guess what you're inviting back in? Same patterns and the belief
Mm.
that you don't have the capacity to show up and tend to yourself because you think you're the same. No, not true. Start believing that you are always, always evolving, whether you're aware of it or not. And
mhm,
Mm.
that little spark of hope and belief in yourself
mhm.
starts to change the texture of how you show up for yourself. Because you're
Mm.
like, oh, I can do this. I'm safe. I can
That's
feel that feeling because I get to show up for myself. I don't have to. I get to. That's a
that's
totally
Mm.
one of
different
the
energy.
most hopeful thoughts in the world.
Mm.
Truly. Like,
That's it. It's as easy as it is. That's it. I am
And
going
it's
to show up for
also,
myself no matter what. That's all. Every
and I
time.
feel like it's also to recognize that the tools that I have today is more than I had yesterday. It's also to like recognize
yes.
that we are growing and evolving, and we are, like we do now, we are giving each other tools to navigate ourselves through all of the changes, and to recognize that I practice myself at least to celebrate
Mm.
everything that I've learned,
Beautiful.
everything that I've gained, to remind myself that when something comes around a second, third, fourth, fifth time, I know that, but the tools that I have now is way more than I had the first time it came around. So it will be way more accessible for me to move through this with grace and in ease, and to gain even more tools. So it's like this ever giving play of life where every time, like, it feels almost exciting to me when something old comes back around, because I'm curious, like, I wonder if
Mhm.
I'm able to use the tools that I have now to move through it in a way different way, even though it shows up as the same. So
Yes,
it's
thank
like
you.
seeing it as a play in a way, like to be like, I wonder, like, how much did I mature through the last round or through the round
Like a
before
game,
that?
almost like a
Yeah,
game.
it
You've
is like a
leveled
game.
up, right? Like life, if I
Yeah.
treat life like a game, I'm always evolving. I'm always moving my piece. Can I
Mm.
believe in myself enough to know that, you know what, if I got this far, I'm going to be okay. Because that means I can
Like,
only,
Super Mario. I
yeah,
sometimes I imagine like Super Mario, and when you walk through the levels and you jump and you get like the mushroom that makes you big, I'm like, oh, that's a tool.
yeah,
That's like, this
that's
is
what
the
we're
tool that I
constantly.
receive from this conversation. It's the mushroom that makes me bigger, and then I can like, oh, it's easy to move through life.
Yeah. Right, that belief right there is so huge. Not everyone has that living in them. Your belief in you, you're like, you know what? I'm going to be safe no matter what because I trust myself. Just keep showing up for me. I get to do that. I get to do that for me. No one else gets to do that for me. I get to do that for me.
Mm,
That's a gift. That's not
mm,
something sad. We need to shift the narrative. People are like, oh, I'm so lonely. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your loneliness is asking something of you. What do you think it's asking? It shows up because it's saying, hey, how does that feel in your body? If it feels icky,
mm,
it means it's out of alignment.
mm,
Reorganize that lonely energy and bring it
mm,
back home so you get to hold it. You get to show up for your loneliness and show it.
mm,
You're not separate from all that is.
mm,
Stop feeling
mm,
lonely, right? But someone else saying that to you is just like, that's just words. I can talk and talk and talk about the things that have changed my life. But until you start to feel it, if it moves something in you, pay attention. It's
mm,
speaking to you. Let it resonate. And then take that energy that resonated and make it yours.
mm,
Believe that I heard something today that resonated in me, even if it's one seed of truth for you. Take it and run with it until we talk again or and then celebrate it. Be like, "Oh my gosh, I learned something new about how to tend to me." That's
And
gold.
also to ask the loneliness, what are you? Because sometimes if I have the feeling of loneliness and I ask, what are you? It's just me abandoning myself, mostly.
Mm.
It's me abandoning
That's so
who I
beautiful.
am. And that is what creating the loneliness, because that's actually the only real loneliness there is, at least for me, is when I abandon myself. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, I'm never lonely. How is it possible to be lonely with on a planet of billions? It's not possible, but
Oh,
I
we're
can
all
create.
doing it, right? We're all doing it. We're
Yeah.
more connected and more disconnected because we're further from ourselves because there's so much noise now. Everything is distracting us from turning in and tuning in and tending to the part of us that has betrayed us, not out of on purpose, never on purpose, out of the conditioning of the human condition that said your joy and your peace is going to come from owning that or living there or dating them or marrying them or having this many kids or having this life that you were expected to have.
Okay, and all that's true, but sometimes I really do feel joy from the piece of jewelry and from the like I feel the joy from all of it, which is not great because I know I shouldn't care, but and you're just like, oh, that is such a cute whatever tablecloth.
No, but that's the human joy, and I think that's
Okay,
completely fine. Like, I
Debbie.
had joy of buying myself a pair of jeans, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
I do
But
feel like too, we're supposed to like because we're here. I mean, what you're saying, the ideal is for us to be so connected and so in like God-like mindset and territory that we expand and go above all of that. But I don't feel like God discounts the joys here from that chocolate cake we just had a bite of, or the beautiful sun, whatever it might be. Like that's part of this experience too. And so I'm grateful that I do feel joys in those things
yeah.
because I have a capacity to feel joy in lots of things. But I stuck in, I only am feeling joy in material things. That's when you're like, okay,
Yeah, then it would
Yeah.
be
Like,
alarming, but
well, you heard what happened to me. I think I told you that when I was moving all of my stuff that was like the most precious that I set aside to move the next day because I didn't want Truman and his friends to ruin any of it. I showed up the next day with Izzy to gather all those precious things of mine that I'd gathered. And the worker had taken them and thrown them down a dumpster, but
what?
not before he actually went through them like with a fine tooth comb and took the best of, which
no.
he caught him and
I
stuff.
cannot. This story, it's
But it
insane.
got my attention. And it got my attention because I was like, that is the most random. I've never heard of anything like that happening. Okay. What am I to learn from this? And there were multiple layers to it. But I'm like, in the end, I'm like, can anything really be taken from me? Do I really own those things? Are they mine? That cute Norwegian luggage or those cute like wool sweaters that I got in Norway or like all of my travels, all the little things and the trinkets and the skincare. I'm like, no, none of it. Go ahead and take it. If 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 it was to be taken, was it ever really mine to keep? So, yes, you can enjoy the piece of jewelry, but what if someone stole it? How would you feel about that? Are you so connected to your identity, your ego? Like my ego was connected to those things. Oh, you should have seen me rage.
I
I
didn't know this happened, and I am heartbroken for you because that
That's
is
the thing. I was like, felt so violated. And then I started to laugh as I sat there. I'm like, who's violated? My ego? Is my soul, can my soul be violated by things being taken and thrown down a dumpster? How dare they do that to me?
feels like that's
Sorry,
like
but I find this funny because I remember us having this conversation in Norway when I told you about me when I went to Thailand, giving away all my stuff because
Yeah.
something in me was just telling me that I am not attached to any of it. Yeah, it brings up some grief to see my cousins come and steal all my things. But then I
Right?
was reminded, I know I'm giving it away. And that's exactly the point. It's to appreciate the things for sure, be grateful for what we have, but not attached. And I think it's the same with things as with humans. Like if I were to be in a romantic relationship with someone and feel completely attached, it wouldn't be love. It would never be love.
You
It
have to
would
be
be my
willing to
ego
let
living
that
in the
go and be
illusion
grateful
of,
for the experience. Yeah, no, it's like
yeah.
if you attach to anything, what we are saying energetically, we literally are giving the energy that if this leaves, I will not be okay. Right?
Hmm.
All those things were taken and ruined, and I was not okay for a while. Like I was like so much rage came up, and I was like, that's curious. I never let rage come up. So it was important that my daughter Isabel witnessed me have emotion, honest
Mm.
rage, like what? And then as I sat with it and all the noise and the dust settled, I got a lot of clarity around that. Like that was a gift. It showed me
Mm.
where I am still clinging to things to what? To make me feel like more cool because I have like cool Norwegian
But do
sweater.
you remember that conversation
No.
we had when, because I remember this just now, we were talking about this and you said like, you know, I have so much things back in the States and I want to get rid of them. Like
Yeah.
I remember you say this.
I have
So
boxes
I
of
find it,
stuff, you
I
guys.
think it's
I sold
devastating
everything
also.
when
I
I
don't know why
left.
I find it devastating because I know you have moved through it, but at the same time, like I'm reminded like when you said this.
Yeah, I
And
need to
it's
get rid
like,
of stuff. And I've gathered more. See, this is the theme. It's almost like I don't even know what to call it. God, the universe is like, remember when you got rid of all your stuff and how good that felt? Like it
mm,
literally, somehow I made it easy. I'm like, here, take the stuff. And sometimes I'll circle back around and I'll see Izzy wearing something and I'm like, oh, I remember that sweater. Like I'm back in America. Maybe I can have it back. Like, or those cute shoes that I gave you. And I'm like, Noelle, that what is
oh,
speaking? What level of you is speaking? It's your ego thinking that you need that. Why? To be special? Is our desire to be special, to be different, to be seen as like, and this is a good conversation to have because there's a difference. I listened to a podcast once on Goop. You remember Goop,
Yeah.
right? And they were talking, this girl was talking about beauty and how she adorns herself and she has a certain style. And I sat there because I was really in this place where, like, why do I care so much about what I look like? Like my hair, like if I look a certain way, or like I really, really wanted, like a spiritual person wouldn't care. A spiritual person wouldn't wear makeup or wouldn't curl her hair or wouldn't like all these things that I had come to believe were true. When it's another thing of ego saying, well, you should be this or you shouldn't be that. And she talked about beauty and how there's beauty with just a little b, and that would be the one who's adorning themselves out of fear of not being seen as beautiful, like needing to have these things to prop up what lives inside already. And then she talked about big B beauty, that's what radiates from inside. There's a story of Inanna. I'm going to tell this really quick. And it's Sumerian. It's the same story of, you see it in Buddha, like the story of Buddha, of Jesus, of Persephone in Greek mythology. But before all of that, is like Sumerian goddess Inanna. And she goes on this descent journey to go visit her sister in hell. And because her sister is the queen of hell, and it's Eshkigal, I think is her name. But in order to go descend into the depths of the void, which is seen as hell, like that dark place, right? That no one wants to go to, but where is all the beauty and the gems of wisdom that are gained from descending, right? Because everything must be stripped away to enter that place. So she gets to the first gate, Inanna, and she's a queen and she has her crown and she gets to the first gate and the guard, like the at that threshold, he's like, you have to give up something to enter in. There's seven gates, and she's at the first one. She's like, I don't know. Like I have all my things. There's nothing here to give up. And he's like, you can't enter in unless you're willing to be stripped of something that you're whole clinging to, thinking you need that for what? So she gave her crown, which was her authority, her certainty, her position,
Reputation, they're everything.
right? Right? Her glory. And she had to give that up to enter. She had to have something stripped, something physical, stripped, something not just physical. It was her attachment to that, that physical thing that gave her what? Power? Because she wore a crown. So she goes through these gates and she's giving up her crown. She's giving up her her ability to hear and her earrings, her voice, like her ability to speak truth or whatever, because her relationship with all of these things, her robe, her staff, all of these things indicated a physical form of something she clung to for her identity. So she's stripping away to get to the death of her ego, and she hangs on the hook for 3 days dead before she resurrects. And now she is not the same Inanna who entered that depth, and she resurrects and she goes back through the gates to gather each thing she gave up. But as she rises up through her ascent, she is not the same. She has died to her attachment to all the things she thought made her be a certain way in the eyes of anyone beholding her. Now she gathers in all of these things that she had a very different relationship with before. She is not the same. And what she brings now is her capital B beauty. Her relationship with each of those things isn't that she's special because she has these. It's her power to know that this lives in her. This is just a representation of what she holds true in here. And she shows up in her radiance as capital B beautiful. If she chooses to adorn herself in a certain way, it's not from fear, the energy of fear that if I'm not wearing this or whatever, I don't have my power. She's like, no, now I do it out of the empowerment of love, knowing that my power of love is in a very different relationship with each of these things now because I know who I be. Does that make sense?
It's like, yeah, it's subconscious healing. It's like giving
Yes.
up the identities and the stories and the patterns.
Yes.
Oh,
It's such, when I heard that story for the first time, I wept because I didn't realize that the dissolution of my life, my descent, my loss was actually my rebirth, my birth into a new way to be in relationship with Noelle. Not believing that anything exterior could give me power or validation or worthiness, but that I gave that to myself as I let myself descend and let everything be stripped away. And it's still being stripped away. We never have one descent. We have descent after descent. I could tell you this last month after moving and having all that happen and moving into a place with roommates, and like my life is upside down, but it's so beautiful because I'm a different Noelle. Every time I face the things, I'm like, well, there's more stripped away. There must be more to learn here. There must be more beauty within me that wants to emerge in a different relationship with everything that is. And
You are so evolved. I am like sitting here feeling so much panic.
oh, believe me.
No, but remember, you listening to this, you're initiated. Like, this is the thing.
It's an
Like, this is
initiation.
what we do for each other. We are initiating each other because now you telling that story makes the subconscious healing land in a different way for me. And I want to recommend to read the Book of Love of Rumi. That's seriously, it's so aligned to this. Oh, yeah.
Go get it. Go get it and set it there.
That's truly like it's truly so
read
aligned
one page
to
today.
this conversation that I'm reading it right now, and I find it always, Noelle, like every time we spend time together, it's like things are so synchronized. So that book will also help you for this to land even deeper, to understand like we have everything already within us. Everything that's external is just a part of the human world, and it's beautiful too, but it has nothing to do with our soul. And I think that that's the wisdom of the story that you shared now, is to understand that the beauty that we see in our crown or in our dress or in my jeans or whatever it is just like this picture that I paint from my logic mind. But then when I strip it away, like, it's already something that lives within me, because otherwise I couldn't see it in things either. So it's to understand that play between human and soul and things to be like, okay, but then I understand, because it's so aligned to the subconscious healing. I think this story is exactly what it is, because it's like seeing the identities that we create as throughout all of life, the identities, the stories, the patterns, everything is making us feel something about ourselves. But in the moment when we actually put our consciousness, our light to those stories or identities, we recognize the true nature of our soul. And that's where the beauty lies. That's where the beauty is.
And it keeps growing in us because everything is perfect love. Every hardship, them throwing that stuff, all my precious things down, 4 stories, like to have
Still
everything
baffled though. Still
obliterated.
baffled.
I'm like, that was so loving. It was another demonstration of how I don't have to be attached to things. And something is wrong with, I have this charging, but it is about to die, even though it says it's charging. So I don't know what's going on with my computer right now, but this
While
may, we
doing
need
it.
to
We're
wrap
probably
this up
meant
so it
to
doesn't
wrap
just,
it
I need
up.
to close this container because we're at an hour and,
Okay.
no, we're at 2 hours and 15
Oh,
minutes.
I love it.
So
Okay.
started at 11. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If anyone is watching this and you
Oh,
came
sorry.
this far, like kudos to you. Like I'm so grateful because there's so much rich information here. Thank you for both of you showing
Thank you.
up.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking of the people,
Mm.
so I apologize. I just turned off my camera because I was embarrassed, thinking, oh, people are seeing this. So now I'm going to say, oh, nope, it's fine. People are seeing me looking.
Yeah, you're so
Fine.
beautiful, David.
Yeah,
No.
you're
This-
capital B beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah,
being
capital B.
Thank you for this. This is like mind blowing. Right now, I have so many things to work. And so thank you both very, very much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, so much love. I'm so glad you guys are connected now. You have each other's like energy and wisdom.
Mm.
Thank you, both of you, like soul sister.
Thank you, Noelle, for
Yeah.
doing this. Truly, like I'm so glad it was aligned for me to come today, and thank you to both of you, because it makes my heart sing, and my soul is dancing with both of you. So thank you. It's been truly, truly a blessing. So
This is
thank
my
you, thank you,
favorite
thank you.
space to have these conversations and
Mm.
to like help, like to have people be like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. I can show up for me.
Mm.
I can love on me. And it's every experience is just an opportunity to love myself more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you
Okay.
both so much. So much.
Mm.
I love you. I love you. Thank you for
I
everyone.
love you,
And
both of you.
we'll have it in 2 more weeks. I don't know exactly the date. It is October 17th. I'll be back and we'll be here. So,
And I'm also considering opening a space like this just for the fun of it, because I
yes,
just want to speak to people. I just
I
want
know,
to
right?
hear like what people have to say. So
And I always drop
yeah.
these into Buffalo Queen YouTube, the Buffalo Queen channel.
Oh, you
So
do. Oh,
every
perfect.
recording goes there. So you can watch the men's. This is super interesting. And they're all there. And I can see more
Oh, I
people
didn't
starting to
know.
watch them. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's just start the conversations. Let's have the conversations. Why not?
Yeah.
So thank
It's
you.
beautiful.
So much.
Thank you.
Love
This
you.
was so lovely.
Debbie, if you want to talk or
Lovely.
anything, let me know.
Yes, I do. And I do. Thank you. I should say I do and I will. Okay.
Okay. I love you. Reach
Thanks so
out.
much.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye, Camila. I love you.
Love you.